Welcome to part 8 of the Deep Space Nine space station build-up. As you know, we've got the inner core completed. We've also got the pylons completed as well. So it's now time to turn the attention to the docking ring. I've got the lower half of the docking ring set up on the table at the moment. And I just really wanted to go over some of the things that need to be done to this in order to get it together. So if you grab a pen and a pad, there will be a test afterwards. Only kidding. Or am I? We find out. No, honestly, I'm only kidding. So some of the things that I need to do to this is we need to get the lights, the LED strips basically in these spots here for the windows. They will be run in parallel, pretty much well the same as I did in the habitat section. So I will need to run the positive and the negative wire around the outside of those as well. The good thing is with this section is that I've got a little bit more room to work with than I did in the habitat ring. I'm also going to need to put an LED strip in here as well to light these windows up that are running down this side here. I will also need to place SMDs down these parts here because there are lights that run up that section of the ship, and I will also need to do the same for those. The other things that I need to do is on the other side of this put a couple of small LEDs in there for the windows at the bottom of the pylons. I will also need to put an SMD on either side of this that are facing the pylons for the floodlight effect. So that needs to be done. I also need to put the docking rings in, the small docking rings, and I also have got the 3 big docking rings as well that need to go in. And then I'm pretty much going to need to do the same to the upper section of the docking ring as well. The only difference with that is the fact that I won't need to put the LED strips in or the SMDs in there because they should be able to light up those sections. But I definitely will need to put the 2 small LEDs in there and also the SMDs for the floodlight effect. But I also will need to run some wires around the inside as well, mainly because I've got wires coming down from the pylons, you know, the upper pylon, so they need to run around the upper ring and then be fed down the pylons into the base. So that's pretty much, well, that bit done. On the docking rings, the large ones, I do believe in the TV series there is meant to be a small floodlight in there. I'm not too sure. Put that one down to old age, I think. But I will just double check and make sure. I might put the floodlight in if there is one, not too sure at the moment. And we've also got the small docking rings as well that need to go in. There's not much detail on these, unfortunately, but we'll see if we can do anything to dress those up. Some of these have got a little bit of flashing on that will need to be removed, and then we've also got these parts here that need to be fitted onto the ops center as well, but that will be done at the very end. So that pretty much all covers what we need to do to get this lit up. The other things that do need to be done is the primer. Again, I'll be doing this in white primer first, followed by the grey primer, and then I'll be able to put the primary colours on top of that, and then the secondary colours, and then I'll go over that with a clear lacquer just to help protect the paint. One of the things that I have noticed with this kit is the fact that these parts, I think because they're quite large and they're also quite narrow, they have warped slightly. So when I do put this together, what I'm going to need to do is flip this over and then tape each part down, and then put glue on the joint, and then slide the next one into place, and then tape that down to the desk, and then do the same again with the third section. Hopefully by doing that, that should solve the warping, or at least the parts will then be, the fit will be true on those parts. And I need to do the same with the top section, and then hopefully by the time we get around to putting those two sections together, they should be pretty much well in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack on and get some of this sorted out, and as soon as I've made some progress on this, we'll come back to you with an update. Richard back with you again for a quick progress update. I've got the 2 layers of white primer on this, followed by 2 layers of black primer, followed by 2 layers of grey primer. Now I know you could say that that's an awful lot of primer to put on a ship, but with the problems that I faced with the pylons, with all the amount of light leaks that I had, especially around these kind of areas where you've got the sensor bands, etc., I just thought it would be best to put the 6 layers of primer on there. They were fairly thin coats, so it hasn't destroyed any of the markings on there, so that's good. So all that's left to do to this now is put the top coat on with all of the detail painting, and then I'll need to do the grey wash on this, and then go back over it again with the panel detailing that I need to do, and then put the clear lacquer over that, and that will be that'll be finished. We've also got the same done to the top section of the docking ring, and again that used the same white, black and grey primers on this. And then I just need to do the same level of detail with the top coat on this, and the secondary colours and the grey wash, and then that'll be done. What I will more than likely end up doing is getting the lower pylons on this first, and then putting it on the stand, and then flipping it over, and then putting the inner section of the space station in, and then getting all the wires connected up and making sure that everything's running properly first before I put the top section on and glue that down. I think it's going to be easier to tackle it that way. But what I'll do is, if I get the upper section, as you can most probably see, I've got these marked with 1, 2 and 3 on there. They match up to the corresponding numbers on the bottom. It's just I found it easier to do it that way, rather than sort of trying to do it blind. But that's how that's going to start to look. So if we pick this up, it's not really in properly because it's a bit fiddly, this, to get it all together properly, but you can actually start to see on the inside there how thick it's really going to be, and on the outside section, see how it's going to look. So yeah, it's coming along quite nicely, and this is quite sturdy. I mean, these are quite sturdy on their own. If I was just to pick it up by just one section, you can see that it just bows a little bit, but it still holds together really, really well, even with the Revell contactor glue. So by the time that this is put together properly, and it's got the 3 pylons on there. We shouldn't have any issues at all whatsoever with this model staying together and in one piece and not warping. So that's quite good. So what I'll do is I'm going to crack on and start on the primary colours and the secondary colours and the grey wash on this, and as soon as I've got some progress on that, I'll come back to you. Richard back with you for another quick progress update. I'm working on the lower section of the docking ring. I've got the primary colour down, and I've also started to mask off the areas for the sensor bands that need to be done in the mustard yellow. I will need to just put some more masking tape around the leading edges of this just to protect it from overspray. Once they're done and dry, I'll then need to go over the whole thing with the grey wash, and then I need to use the other secondary colours to try and bring out some of the panelling on this ship. Sorry, on the docking ring. I still keep on calling it a ship, even after all of these updates. It's crazy. Once I've done that, I'm then going to flip it over and go into the other side, because I want to get all of the lights in place first and all the wires running through, because we've got lights that need to run up these sections, and then as well as the main cabin lights that are going to be in there. I also need to get some lighting in as well for the pylons, for the windows that will go into the pylons just around there. And I also need to finalise the positions as well for the little floodlights that are going to go in there. So I want to get all of that done before I work on the upper section. The upper section isn't going to be so hard to do because there's not going to be so many lights in that section, but it really will be dependent on where all of the wires are in here as well. So we need to get that done before I work on the top half. So once I've got some more progress on this, I'll come back to you. Richard back with you again for a quick update. I've got the mustard yellow sensor bands in place now. They went down pretty good. I just need to let these dry. Then once they're dry, I'll be able to go over this completely with the grey wash, and then once the grey wash is dried, I'll then go over that with the clear lacquer just to help protect the paint whilst I'm doing the other work. I'll just give you a quick close-up on the sensor bands, or well, on some of the sensor bands, because they are starting to look pretty good. So there you go, that's what they're looking like, and you can see the detail that does actually stand out on these. So that's actually pretty good. So I'm quite happy with those, to be fair. So the other things that I need to do on this side, once all the paint's on, is I just need to finalise exactly where the floodlights are going to go. But they will be around this point and this point, just to help light up the outer edges of the pylon. I also need to get the lights in there as well, so I just need to start drilling a couple of holes in those parts. But as I say, that will all be done with the lighting that goes in on the other side as well. So that's about it for the moment, guys. I'm going to crack on and get some more work done to this, and I will come back to you in part 9 with some more progress on the model. Until then, thank you for watching, and please do take care.